let's dye some yarn with Cosmos. Okay, so today I have already scoured and pre-mordanted some cotton, linen, and some wool yarn. For the cotton, I scoured it with washing soda, but for the yarn, I just scoured it with some dish soap. Now they're both sitting together in a pre-mordant pot. This pot has alum, a little bit of cream of tartar, about 2 teaspoons of each, as well as some iron water solution that I made. You can see there's all different colors in here. I'm not really concerned. I'm just excited to get to use last year's Cosmos. I need to wait for about 45 more minutes before we can get started on doing any dye stuff. So I'm going to do a little bit of preservation stuff in the meantime. Alex and I went to the grocery store yesterday, and in the produce section there were a bag of lemons that had been discounted, but they looked totally fine. So I washed them, I picked off the little stem bits, and now I'm going to slice these up, and then I'm going to dehydrate them in my dehydrator. I'll put them in a jar for now, but I think around Christmas we'll probably do some kind of fun decoration with them. Maybe I'll keep one not dehydrated just to use this week, but that leaves 5 that I'm going to cut up while we wait for that pre-mordant pot to finish pre-mordanting our fabric. I do have a pot here. This pot is stained with iron, but I'm not really concerned about that. So you can see that dark sort of rusty color. I did scrub it. I tried doing baking soda. I even used a magic eraser. It didn't really fix it for me. Let's just add in those Cosmos. It's not a huge amount of flowers, but I do have marigolds as well outside, so I might add some marigolds to this, but I first want to try with just the Cosmos. I'm going to turn the heat on to high just to get this heated up, and then once it starts to simmer, I'll back it down to low. And do you see, these are Osage, also called hedge apples. They are a very bizarre fruit that grows here in southern Ontario. I'm sure they grow elsewhere. They kind of smell like citrus and kind of also like a walnut, like a black walnut if you ever pick one of those up. They leave your fingers smelling sort of citrusy, and they leave it a bit sticky, and they kind of look like a brain. I just think they're so weird. Anyway, my friend and I went for a walk. There were a bunch of these all over the road and the sidewalk. So I took some home, and I thought they had some use in natural dye. Turns out it's the wood of this tree that has good natural dye use. But these fruits, they are a deterrent for fleas and mice. What a strange looking fruit. They're not poisonous, but not considered edible. But aren't they strange? Kind of looks like a pineapple. It doesn't smell bad. It smells I don't know about fruity. I would say it's more vegetal than fruity. So I'm gonna cut these up, and I'm gonna put one in our basement. I'm gonna put a couple near our back door, but outside. If they deter mice, that would be great, because we have never had mice in this place yet, but fall is always the time when they try to come. So this is a good time to be sort of kicking them out. How cool is that? Anyway, let me wash my hands, and then let's do these lemons. So with the rest of the lemon peels, I chopped them up and squeezed the remainder of the juice into a pot. I'm gonna get them simmering, and then I'm gonna add sugar. So I ended up adding 1 cup of sugar to the lemons, and I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon also. Just gonna put that stick into there. And while we wait for those lemons, I am going to cut up one of these Osage. I'm just gonna cut it into quarters, and I'm gonna put these out in my backyard, hopefully to keep mice away. Oops. And here are what our lemons are looking like right now. Maybe it'll be a lemon syrup or something. Something tasty. Just gonna turn the heat down on that now, and we'll come back to that a little later. Okay, it's been about an hour that these have been simmering in here. I am going to actually pull some of these straight out of the mordant pot and put them right into the dye pot. The first of which is going to be the yarn, which is looking like it's taken on a bit of a beige sort of orange color from that iron mordant, and I'm just going to put that straight into this dye bath. Oh, that's already getting some color. Let's see what happens there. And I think at the same time, I'll put in this white eyelet cotton. See if we can get some color on that as well. And we'll just leave this in here for another hour. All right, it's later now, and this yarn is looking pretty dark. So I think I'm gonna take it out. So let's get it into the sink. I'll return that back to the stove. So for my rinse this time, I'm gonna fill this bowl with hot water, and then I'm gonna just dip the yarn in to rinse it. While the yarn sits in the sink, we can add some of the other items to the dye bath. I want to put in this beautiful orangey brown piece of fabric. Hopefully that'll get a nice color on it. And then let's put in some more of this white fabric. This is just 100% cotton. I'll do another one of those drawstring bags. And there we go, and that is gonna sit in there for another hour. The water is looking pretty much clear, so I'm gonna get this out, and I'm just gonna put it in my colander. And we'll let that sit for a little bit to drip, and once it's not fully dripping, I'll get that outside to fully dry. That's a lovely color though. Very happy with that. You wanna see what the eyelet fabric looks like? It looks like coffee, like a coffee stained color. I love it. So I'll hang these to dry outside, and then I'll show you them tomorrow. Anyway, I added another cup of sugar into the lemon, and I added a little bit more lemon juice. And I'm just sort of letting these stew until I think they're done. I finished with the lemons. This ended up being 2 cups of sugar and probably about half a cup of lemon juice, and the yellow rind chopped up from about probably 2 lemons worth, but it was just the ends of what I used for the dehydrated lemons. It looks thin right now, but it will thicken up. I did the whole spoon test. But that's good. I'm happy that I did that. I'm happy I got the osages cut and dispersed. And now, before I make dinner, I'm just going to pull out the fabric that is in the dye pot right now. This looks to have taken on a bit of a greenish brown color. The orange has darkened down to more of a brown, which is fine. I'm happy about that. So I'm gonna pull these guys out and let them drip in the sink, and then I'll rinse them out and hang them to dry, and we'll talk about them tomorrow. See you in the morning. Okay friends, it's the next day now, and the lemons are done in the dehydrator. I am going to start pulling them out now and putting them into these little jars, and then I'm going to go and show you all of the yarn and fabric. So we'll get to that in just a sec, but I have a plan for these lemons. For now, I'm just going to jar them up, and I think they look really cute, and I think they will be very fun and useful however I decide to use them. Cool. So we got 2 jars of dried lemons. Don't those look so nice? I also have the preserves. The lemon syrup has fully cooled. And check this out. Look at this. Is that not so just pretty? To me, it looks like honey with bits of honeycomb. It tastes like the center of a lemon candy. I think this will be great to use with like a ginger tea in the winter time. Isn't it beautiful? It's obviously super sweet, but it is very lemony. Okay, so last time I did this melon dehydration, I did it in thin slices that I sliced on the mandolin. They came out like this, super small and very crispy. Hear that? This time I cut them into chunks instead of in slices, and they're way darker and harder, but they're delicious. Here's the same melon sliced a little thicker. Oh, those are nice. These are going to be used in our oatmeal, and this melon was kind of super boring as a fresh fruit. I will have much more enjoyment using it as a dried fruit. Ta-da! So that's that for our food stuff. Let's talk about the dye. We started off with this Briggs & Little washed white regal wool, and with those Cosmos we were able to get this beautiful dark green. I think it actually turned out so nice, and I wanted to show you this color against some of the other colors I've made recently. We did this with onion skins and marigold. Look at how beautiful those two look together. This one we did with avocados, came out so beautifully orange. Look how pretty those look together. And then here's another one that is an avocado skin, and then check this one out. Goldenrod. I just think these natural dyes work so well together. They just look like they belong together. It's so pretty. I just wanted you to be able to see some of the colors with the one we got yesterday from the orange Cosmos. Those Bright Lights Cosmos really do create some awesome color. So that's what we got on wool. We also did the eyelet fabric, and that one dried really beautifully. I think it has this sort of tea-stained antique look to it. Remember, it was stark white, so with that in mind, it does have color to it. It's obviously not the most saturated color, but it's still very pretty. I'm happy with it. These ones aren't dry yet, but I wanted to show you them anyway. The exhaust dye bath on the Cosmos still imparted a really beautiful brown onto this linen bag. The brown fabric came out this beautiful sort of burnt brown. It was a plain brown, prior, but it came out much more warm toned. I think it looks beautiful with this avocado yarn. And then this was stark white, and it just sort of turned coffee stained brown. That being said, I'm still really happy with the colors that I got. Even though these ones are pretty pale, that's all right. I'm okay working with some muted tones. This one though is actually really quite something, isn't it? There's our yarn. Here are all of our preserves. I think we did great. Anyway, friends, that is it from me for today. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and come back next week for some kind of handmade thing like this. And hey, if you are new here and you would like to join the Patreon, which gives you special private access to the Last Minute Laura Discord server, as well as early releases on videos and lots of other cool stuff too, check out the links in the description down below. You'll be able to find the link to Patreon there, and then you'll get all of that information. Oh, by the way, if you're new here and you're wanting to still watch another thing from my channel and you're wondering what you should watch, check out this one up here. This one is gonna be something that you really like, and if you don't like this one, maybe try out this one. The live streams are pretty fun, and I think you should join us in for that one. So, okay, now for real, bye.